Hi, geeks. Italy has a Grand Slam champion. His name is Yannick Sinner. He's the US Open 2024 men's singles champion. Somdevi took out Taylor Fritz in the final. What a match we saw. And we're the tennis geeks, Purav Raja, Somdev Devarman, bringing you this analysis on the final.
Unbelievable final. I expected it to be a little nerve-filled. I think we saw that a little bit from Taylor Fritz. We saw that a little bit from Yannick Sinner as well, both of them trading breaks early on. But once the match became a baseline battle, once the match became a movement battle, I felt like Yannick Sinner was always the better player.
Yeah,
I don't know if you saw it the same way.
88% of points on his first serve. I thought the match was decided on that. The fact that Taylor Fritz only won 60-odd% and we thought he has the better serve. Yannick Sinner just came out. Every time he landed the first serve, the point was over. And the times he broke some. He broke 3-all in the first. He broke 4-all in the second. 5-all in the fifth. We're talking about times when he broke. It reminds me a bit of Pete Sampras.
I mean, yeah, talking about how well Yannick Sinner served. He lost 5 points on his serve the entire match.
Wow.
All of those 5 points came in the first set, which means he lost 0 points on his first serve in the second set, 0 points on his first serve in the third set, which is a mind-blowing statistic. It is mind-blowing for anybody at any level.
Just when tennis is aging, you have all four Grand Slams won by two boys under 23 years old.
Unbelievable. I mean, and you're talking about the evolution of it. But, I mean, yeah, coming back to this match, just the timing of how Sinner did things. Started off with a bang, breaks Fritz right away, sets the tone. Yes, Fritz breaks back, but, 3-all in that opening set breaks him. Like you said, keeps the scoreboard pressure in that second set, stays ahead, hasn't lost a point on first serve. So Fritz is feeling it. 4-5, what do you know? Fritz is up for the challenge. Next thing you know, he's 2 sets to love down. He's 2 sets to love down. But the third set, that's where I kind of saw it very differently because Fritz put himself in a position, played a peach of a game at 3-all, breaks Yannick Sinner, does things differently, comes in.
Before 3-all, even in the first game of the third set, he had love 40.
He had love 40. He gave himself chances.
Yeah, he didn't take it. But he played well enough. It's just that Yannick Sinner, one of the things that we will talk about, of course, is Yannick Sinner's returning position, switching so much. He switched it to be the court was barely big enough for Yannick Sinner. He was going so far back, something we don't often see in the modern day game, apart from maybe Daniil Medvedev.
Yeah, we don't see that. But again, and you don't see that from Yannick Sinner every match that he plays. And I think that's where it was tactically a very well played match, and he approached it the right way because, again, tactically, he's thinking, if I get into a 50-50 situation with Taylor Fritz on his serve, that's the place where I want to be because he is one of the best in the world to turn, not even, defense into offense. It's just like that. With one swing, he can do it off the backhand, off the forehand. So he's hitting that heavy, deep ball, moving forward and, really establishing court position and forcing Taylor Fritz to come up with something special every time he needs to win a big point. And we saw him, how does he lose serve at, serving for the third set? Because if I'm looking at it from pretty much any angle, Taylor Fritz is 5-3 up in the third set.
Yeah.
He's, one game away from taking it to the fourth. Who knows what happens there? Probably, Sinner would still be the favorite based on how the match was going. But still, it's just that extra pressure that Yannick Sinner puts on that Taylor Fritz second serve.
Over the course of the match, I think he broke down Fritz's backhand. He broke down Fritz's backhand. Every backhand-to-backhand rally, Fritz kind of, faltered and Sinner could take advantage. Now, saying that, even the forehand angle, I thought was a huge difference. Sinner using that forehand angle. Shots that Fritz, you associate Fritz with power and one strike and the serve coming through. Sinner is attacking you this way. And, he's going wider.
Spreading the court.
Spreading the court so much. Fritz is all linear. It's coming straight to you. It's very tough to play. But just think about the amount of weapons Yannick Sinner has to kind of win this match. Even if it did go 4, there's no way that we could think Taylor Fritz would win in 5.
Once you're down 2 sets to love against a player of that caliber, it's incredibly hard. But yeah, I agree with you. He obviously can attack you through the court of both sides. He's spreading the court. But one of the things he did incredibly well, and you saw this to break Taylor, is using that drop shot.
Yeah.
So he's, exploiting the worst part of Taylor Fritz's game, which is moving forward and getting his hands involved with a ball that has no weight and below the level of the net. So Taylor's now got to create something. He doesn't really necessarily like that option. And once he does create something, Yannick Sinner's got a pass.
Yeah.
Yannick Sinner's got a lob. Yannick Sinner's got an opening where he hits into. And Taylor Fritz is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So I just think that, obviously the first serves is a standout
He
statistic.
took it away, though. Sinner really took it away by standing so far back. He took away that first serve, the advantage that he really should have. Sinner just neutralized every point that was on his racket.
Yeah, I think overall a fantastically played match from Sinner tactically. In terms of execution, I mean, he did a...
Could Fritz have done anything better?
I mean, I think obviously, he put himself in that position in the third set to win that third set. Obviously, didn't land a whole lot of first serves and gets into trouble in that neutral position very quickly against somebody like Yannick Sinner. The opening set, I mean, again, could Fritz have done something? I don't think so.
Could he have served volleyed? Could he have played
No,
one ball?
there's no way.
Could he have played one ball attack? Could he have just, hit the serve? Because the Sinner is so far back. Could he have opened the court up and then gone in? Because for sure he realized that he's not going to win these baseline rallies after a period of time.
Yeah, I can see that. But at the same time, how do you change the crux of who you are as a player? And Taylor Fritz has had so much success in his life and this tournament.
Well, we saw Djokovic do it against Alcaraz with serving and volleying in the finals of, there's only one Novak, but I'm just saying that, everybody kind of evolves their game to beat, even on the doubles side, I remember the Bryan switching sides to beat Zimonjić Nestor. And I just feel like tennis needs to be evolving. Your tennis needs to evolve. And Taylor Fritz tennis is not good enough right now to be competing for Grand Slams all the time.
I mean, you can only beat who's in front of you.
Yeah.
So he's done a phenomenal job. If you take a look at how his draws opened up, I mean, beating Ruud, finalist at the US Open, beating Sasha Zverev, beating Tier 4. I think he's done a phenomenal job of just getting there with the draw that he had.
Yeah.
I mean, he could not have done any better.
I don't doubt.
In this match, I think he was just the second best player in pretty much every department.
Yeah.
And, you can't really fault him for that. There's no way. I can't visualize myself seeing, Taylor Fritz serving and volleying. Maybe once in a way, maybe as a surprise play, but, that's not in his kitty. That's not who he is. That's not his strengths. But, let's talk about the evolution. Like, where's American tennis now? Because it's the first time since Andy in 2006 for the US Open finals. First time since Andy in Wimbledon finals in 2009 that America's now got a finalist. 15 years since that time. American tennis, where does men's American tennis stand right now?
Well, I just feel like there's three generations, right? There's the Sampras Agassi generation in this millennium. Then there's the Isner Query generation, Isner Query Johnson Sock. And then we come to here where there's Tier 4 Fritz, Paul, Korda, Shelton, and that's in the top 20. And I'm thinking that we are surely not far from a Grand Slam champion. And the USA is not far from a Grand Slam men's singles champion. And that's credit to them. Obviously, Andy Roddick, I didn't mention him in that. But I put him more in the Isner Query era than the Agassi-Sampras era. And, I just feel like Roddick, Fish, those guys as well. Like they
Blake.
have one Grand Slam. Blake, they have one Grand Slam. I think this generation is actually looking the healthiest to win a Grand Slam after Agassi-Sampras.
Yeah, and just mentioning that, I think one of the things with American tennis, you take a look at the success they've had historically. Arthur Ashe, Jimmy Connors, then you go into the 80s and you have McEnroe, and later on there's the 90s had, Jim Courier, Michael Chang, Agassi, Sampras, Todd Martin. I mean, you had lots of great players coming out over there. So I feel like the comparison to men's tennis now is only how many slams you win.
Yeah.
And I find that to be quite an unfair place, considering how global of a game this is, considering the greatest three players all came from Europe.
No, I'll put it the other way.
In this timeline.
I'll put it the other way, because Olympic sprinting is only, sprinting is only known for the Olympics or the World Championships you win, and that happens once a year or once every 4 years. In tennis, you have 4 times a year to prove how good you are. And I'm talking about the top guys, 4, and then maybe the Olympics, and that's a discussion. But they are 4 or 5 times a year to prove, which is more than most sports. You have more than most sports. I mean, you keep saying golf is judged by majors. Yes, but they have 4 majors a year. Sprinting is only judged by literally 10 seconds every 4 years. or swimming.
So what you're saying is that what American men's tennis has right now, they really need to step up. And is this an opportunity now? Because the big three, I mean, Novak's still around, but Sinner and Alcaraz are so far ahead of the rest of the field.
Yeah.
It's very clear that they are. There's no, I mean,
Yeah.
there's no debate. There's been 4 majors this year, and they've dominated all 4. Right.
Exactly.
So is this also officially the changing of the guard? And I mean, coming back to American men's tennis, Fritz is obviously up there, Tiafoe is obviously up there, and all the 5 names that we mentioned, are they really ready for that Grand Slam push?
No, I don't think they are. And I think it's easy to say that Federer and Nadal have been replaced by Sinner and Alcaraz, and Djokovic still remains. But Federer and Nadal for sure have been replaced. And that's by, Sinner and Alcaraz. And that's credit to them. They've made 2024 into their season. And that's immense respect to someone under 23 years old. That's the biggest compliment I can give you as a tennis player, to say you're compared to Roger Federer and Rafa Nadal.
And you've taken over the mantle.
Yeah.
And I think it's very clear. I mean, obviously, at the start of the year, he became the greatest Italian by winning that major. Now he's cemented his place. The best player of the year between Alcaraz and Sinner, who's your pick?
I'm going to say I'll give it to Sinner.
Why?
I'll just give it to Sinner because I feel like he's going to finish the year world number 1. He's going to have he's had a more consistent year in terms of results. And if we're going to look at
very few losses,
only 6 losses, 2 Grand Slam titles. The rise of Sinner has been far greater than the rise of Alcaraz. Remember, Alcaraz won his first Slam in 2022. So we do expect him to come about and win a few, and he won 1 in 23, and now he's won 2 in 24. So I just feel like we've spoken a lot about Alcaraz. Nobody expected Sinner to have this breakthrough. Nobody,
not like this.
Not like this.
He lost, Ben Shelton last year at the US Open, and then following up, lost, 7 matches since that point in 12 months. In 12 months, he's lost 7 matches. So, I see your point. For me, it's Carlos Alcaraz simply because I feel like Wimbledon, now after winning the French, he's won now on 3 different surfaces. Then he's followed up, defended Wimbledon, which is hard to do.
Yeah.
And then the Olympic silver medal, in my opinion. That's an insane accomplishment.
Yeah.
So, it's debatable. I can completely agree with what you're saying with Sinner. But Alcaraz, it's between the two of them. 1 and 2 is for sure the two of them. Now, rest of the draw, standout performances for this US Open.
Jack Draper.
For sure.
Grigor Dimitrov.
Yes.
And I'm saying Grigor Dimitrov and Jack Draper have to be my 2 big standouts. Are you thinking of someone else?
Tiafoe. I think
he's done it before, though.
He has done it before, but he's taken out. The question for me is, does Tiafoe have it in him to win a major? And as much as I love Francis Tiafoe, I feel like the answer is no.
Yeah.
If you ask me who's more likely to win a major right now, Francis Tiafoe, Ben Shelton, it's Ben Shelton in my mind.
Yeah, it's Tommy Paul as well. I think that these guys and Sepp Korda. I'm saying that
I feel like Sepp Korda is not yet made. He's an insane player.
Yeah.
I love watching him
play. Got a lot of
play.
age on his side. He's got a little bit of youth coming in. Top 15 in the world. He's got the game. But why do we say no to Tiafoe? And we say that maybe he doesn't have it in him. And why do we say that? I think it's because every hurdle he hasn't crossed. And he's lost these last 2 US Open semifinals in 5-set battles. He doesn't. Where does Tiafoe stand out as to the rest of the pack? Does he serve better? Probably not. Can he take the racket out of your hand? For most times, not for that level. So what does he do? Is he an insane athlete? Yes, but so are the rest.
Yeah, but for me, it comes down to not the fact that he's lost the semifinals in 5 sets, but how he ended the semifinal. I think for anybody who's looking to win that major, you look at what Yannick Sinner's done, you look at what Medvedev's done. They don't go away at the end of matches. And, Tiafoe, in his own admission, said that he hit a wall. Unfortunately, that's a bad message to be sending to the rest of the people. If he's back in that position, everybody knows we got to get past the first 2.5 hours. And that leads me to my point with Jack Draper as well. Because, if you get Jack Draper to a point where it's super physical after 2.5 or 3 hours, does he then crumble? And how does he now, get past that hurdle?
Honestly, the difference is that Novak did it. He retired against Roddick in 2008.
2009 Australia.
He retired against Roddick, and we always used to ask, what's next for Djokovic? He can't complete a match. And here we sit 15 years later with 24 Grand Slam titles. So I just feel like we're a little too soon with Draper. With Tiafoe, it's more mental. With Draper,
Also 22 versus 26. Draper's 22, Tiafoe's 26.
Draper seems like it's more physical. Physical problems, I feel, can be addressed at that early an age. At 22, you can get over that hump. At 26, with mental, and the same thing with Ben Shelton. Ben Shelton has got maybe a physical, there's no mental issue. Does he believe he can win? Yes, he believes he can win. Does he have one of the best serves in the world? Yes, like Draper, he's got one of the best serves the game has seen.
Right now. I mean, both of them have massive amounts of firepower, but that's about the upside. Talking about a few of the people that, fail to live up to expectations, two players that stand out for me. I don't know. I mean, Tsitsipas is the obvious one over there, but Sasha Zverev, because taking a look at that draw, Sasha Zverev, he's coming in here, seeded 4. He's gone out there against Taylor Fritz, but he knows that Novak's not in the tournament anymore. He becomes that favorite to get through that section. Do you think Sasha Zverev is in the right track?
Yeah, he doesn't like playing Fritz. He's the new world number 2. I just feel like he's got a lot to offer. And do I think that he's in the big 3? No. But is he a legitimate world number 2 for what he's given us in terms of consistency of results? Yes. Can he contend for Grand Slams? Yes, just like a Taylor Fritz can. But no, but I don't.
He's not a favorite.
He's not a favorite, and that's a bit rough if
he's number 2 in the world and not a favorite for a major.
Yeah, that may be an issue. But we used to have so many, even on the women's side, who were not favorites.
But we're talking about how it's a physical issue for Tiafoe and it's a physical issue for Draper. For Zverev, it's not a physical issue.
No.
The guy is, pound for pound from the baseline, he's insane. He's got, great serve. He moves like a dream for 6-6.
No, I said physical issues can be addressed. For Zverev, it might be a mental issue.
I feel like it is.
And then that's a problem. So I put him in as a Grand Slam contender, and I think he is, playing one of the best players in the world. But he's not being able to produce Grand Slam results. Can he produce one? I think he can. At some stage, I think he will win a Grand Slam.
And do you think... this is another great point.
Holger Rune was one disappointment.
Yeah, Holger Rune for sure. He's not yet figured it out because the game is... the weapons. Tsitsipas. Do you think Casper Ruud is going to make another final? If you had to bet on it.
If I had to bet on it, I'd say yes, because there's clay coming up and he's got about 15 French Opens left in.
And he's about as consistent as a performer as any.
So if there's any weakness in the draw, if there's any hole, he'll definitely tackle it, and I think he can make a final. But the big 3 remains. The big 3 is Carlos Alcaraz, Jannik Sinner, Novak Djokovic. Is there any debate on that?
No. There's no debate on that. Who are the best players? Who are the players that are going to be favorites for every major in 2025? At least the way things stand right now. Jannik Sinner, Carlos Alcaraz, and I would say Novak Djokovic is third on that list. Do you agree there?
No, I just feel you can never discount someone who's been around and winning slams for 15 years. So it's very tough for me to say, 2025 he won't win one, because he's done it for the last 15 years.
Yeah, but the fact is that in majors this year, every time he's played Sinner or Alcaraz, he's lost.
Yeah.
So, and he's getting older. The knees, how is it going to hold up? But anyway, that was a great US Open.
Yeah,
that was a fantastic US Open. And finally, I would say, it is officially the changing of the guard, doesn't it? It feels like it.
It is. It is the changing of the guard. For the first time, we have another big 3. And it feels weird to say it. It feels weird to live a life without Roger Federer and Rafa Nadal. But we've got even better tennis to come.
And I think for the first time in 2 decades, we've gone through an entire season of majors without the big 3 winning a single one. So if that's not a sign, I don't know what is. But that was our wrap for the US Open. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed watching us, the Tennis Geeks. We loved talking tennis. We love bringing that action to you. And we'll have a lot more action as well. Don't forget, while the US Open has concluded, we have a lot of ideas of different kind of topics to discuss. And we're going to discuss a lot of that in detail. We're going to take deep dives into geeky things of the tennis tour. But for now, I really hope you enjoyed it. We enjoyed it. And thank you very much for tuning in. Purav Raja, Somdev Dev Burman, we're the Tennis Geeks, and we will be back.
Thanks, guys.